Welcome to your 2022 Jeep Compass. It is a mid-cycle refresh, so a couple of tweaks on the outside. Big news here is the Uconnect 5 system on the inside. So we'll do the drive, we'll take a look at the outside and the inside, and that should wrap us up. So there are 5 trim models for 2022, and they all get the same engine. It's a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, 177 horsepower, 172 pound-feet of torque, all through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm specifically with the Trailhawk Elite, which is the top trim. Let's start with city driving. So it does well. You don't need a lot of power to run and do your things around the city. Most cities are either 40, 50, or 60 kilometers per hour. So the Compass does well on that side. Because it's Jeep's smallest offering, it's got a lot of maneuverability. So parallel parking, forwards parking, backwards parking, tight spots, corners are done very well by the Compass here because you don't really have a lot to move around with compared to Cherokee, Grand Wagoneer, just all the other items in Jeep's lineup. So if you're looking for something to run around the city with that is easy to maneuver, Compass is definitely something that should be on your consideration list. Now on the highway, it does very well at cruising speeds. Once you get up to 100, 110, 120, whatever your desired speed is, it does very well. My irk here is that I feel it's underpowered, and you need an extra couple of seconds to kick down and get yourself up to highway speeds, and your RPMs are going to run up and scream at you a little bit. And I just found it a little underwhelming on the power side. Now, it's still safe. No one is going to put out a modern vehicle that's going to put you at a high risk, or any risk for that matter, of getting into a collision or having something happen. So yes, there is enough power here. For my specific liking, I would have liked to have had something a little stronger. I don't need more horsepower, I need more torque. As far as cornering handling goes, it does it fairly well. Still a crossover / SUV, so you shouldn't be whipping around turns at higher speeds, that whole higher center of gravity thing. But for what it is, a little cute ute, a compact utility vehicle crossover, whatever you choose to call it, it does well. It does what it's supposed to do. Now, even if you don't get the Trailhawk Elite top trim, you go with the Sport or the North, the lower trims, you still get that functionality, and you get the utility of it. You get something a little higher up, you get to be in the Jeep brand, but you don't get all the cool things you get on the Trailhawk or Trailhawk Elite for that matter. Quickly touching on noise, vibration, and harshness, it can be a little louder on city streets, a little louder, even more than that on the highway. Definitely better than the 2021 as far as quietness in the cabin goes, but there's still a little bit of noise that bleeds in. And keep in mind, it is Jeep's smallest, most affordable offering, so you're not going to get the same kind of luxury or premium or high-end features and benefits that you would get in the Grand Wagoneer, the Cherokee, the Grand Cherokee or what. I did take this off-roading because I had it, and it's trail rated, and it's the top trim, and it handles off-roading very, very well. Now I realize the majority of people who will buy the Trailhawk Elite will not be going off-roading. I think the extent will be they'll have snow on their cottage driveway or whatever weather elements come through in the city, or maybe even rural conditions. But off-roading, it does it very, very well. I think there's some video that hopefully turned out. I haven't checked yet. I only went off-roading a couple of days ago. So if that does work out, I will include clips of that. I guess you'll notice it by now because the B-roll will have already cut in. But the Trailhawk Elite does handle the off-roading very well. A very small percentage of owners will take it off-roading, but the capability is absolutely there if you want it. Taking a look outside, revised front fascia, so a little bit different. It still has the same 7 slots that Jeep's known for. There's actually little textured patterns within the 7 slots, so that looks kind of cool. Same thing around the rear as far as minor tweaks and upgrades, new LED lights as well. A cool perk here, and you might call it a quirk, but I call it a perk. On the bottom left of the windshield for the driver, there's that little Jeep Easter egg, and that's not the quirk. The quirk is the way it's specifically positioned, so when the wipers go up and down, it is not wiped away by the wiper, so to speak. It's just under the arc of the driver's side wiper at the bottom left, so I think that's a really cool move there. You'll notice on this does have the little red accent piece on the hood. For Trailhawk, it's got the trail rated badging just above the wheels on the front end of the vehicle. And overall, it still carries a very familiar shape. It's more of that roundy, soft curved Jeep, as opposed to the Wrangler, which is full of 90-degree angles, even with the new JL generation. I don't mind the rims on this. I'm not buying this for style. I'm buying it more for the function side. So again, I don't mind the rims. They're not my first choice. If you've seen any of my videos, you know the classic 5-spoke rims are my thing. But this does look pretty good. Lots of gaps between the top of the wheel and the wheel arches. And what that does is kind of gives you more of that off-road capability. Taking a look on the inside, the big star of the show here is the Uconnect 5 system and the new available 10.1-inch screen. Looks really sharp. Graphics are very crisp. It's easy to navigate through, no issues at all. You can hook up 2 phones. There is so much customizability available here. No issues with the screen itself or the operating system. My Irk comes with what's just below that, and it's a series of buttons from your automatic start-stop, your lane keep assist, your traction control, your 4-way flashers, parking and park assist, at least on the top trim Trailhawk Elite. The buttons don't light up, and that's a big thing for me because even with the dome light on at night, it doesn't fully illuminate it. So yes, as a Compass driver for a year or two, if that's what you choose to be, you'll probably have those memorized. Moving onwards, you got your vents, you've got your HVAC system, which is nicely laid out. It's super easy to use. And a big irk for me in previous Compasses was that you had to do a bunch of digging through the digital screen to get your heated seat on, your cooled seat on, and your heated steering wheel. Still have to do some digging. There are no hard touch buttons for it, but what Jeep has done here is on the top left corner of the infotainment system, there is just a little tiny button, and that controls your heated seat, cool seat, and your heated steering wheel. So yes, it's still an irk that it's not a hard touch button, but the perk is that there's a lot less digging to go through to actually use that and find your settings. A counteract to that is it's a really small button. So if you've got big chunky gloves on in winter, you might have to take a couple of stabs at it before you get it. This does have the optional wireless charging. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay, which is pretty sweet. It was a little glitchy on me at times, but that's not a specific Jeep thing. That's in anything with wireless anythings, because there's no hard connection into the infotainment system. There's always the risk of things not quite malfunctioning, but losing connection when it's not hardwired in. Gear shift, no issues with that. You've got your different drive modes just to the right of it through a little lever, or a little switch you tap forwards and backwards. Got your cup holders. Cool move here is the armrest moves forwards and backwards, so a nice luxury touch. And overall, the cabin has that higher end feel to it. Still not a luxury vehicle, but it's got a premium feel and a higher end feel with the materials used. And yes, it looks a little peculiar because there's this, which is soft touch, and then there's the door handle portion, piano black hard touch, and there's nice leather with red stitching, so not entirely on the lower end side. A good blend of regular as well as premium materials. Taking a look at the dashboard, available full digital display here. It looks so good, and I'm happy that Jeep's making their smallest offering, and being the Compass, which is what I'm in, available with such great high-tech features. It's a nice touch. It's elevating a small offering into something on the premium side. So well done there, Jeep. Red stitching on this steering wheel, a little bit of red stitching just to the left and right of it. Big chunky steering wheel, heats up really nicely. The steering wheel controls, which factor into what's happening in your into your digital dashboard. Really, really easy to use. So as far as what your screens are like, no issues at all. Seats, very comfortable. I've done city driving, I've done highway driving, I've done off-road driving, and I haven't had any issues at all with driver comfort. Found my seating position pretty quickly, and it's just stayed put. There are 2 memory seat options if you are sharing the vehicle. Stellantis / Jeep Canada spec this with the big massive panoramic sunroof. I like it. You can see the roof liner and the A-pillar is gray, so it's not entirely dark, but having that big panoramic sunroof does let a lot more light into the vehicle. Standard safety includes blind spot monitoring, active lane management system. You got a 360 cam here on the top trim at Trailhawk Elite. Last touch will be on cargo space and rear seat space. So let's start with the rear seats. I can sit behind myself. I sit all the way up. I sit all the way back. So if I can fit behind myself, chances are the average adult can also fit back there with a decent amount of comfort. definitely fit for adults here. The person in the middle seat may not have the most amount of comfort, but that's not a compass thing. That's in every rear seat thing. And as far as cargo space goes in the rear, for what it is, for the size of the vehicle, for the class of vehicle, there's a fair amount of cargo here. That's going to wrap it up for the 2022 Jeep Compass. If you've got any questions on the vehicle, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get you answers as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And feel free to tell somebody about the channel who you think might be interested in what it is that I do. Until I see you again, be well, be healthy, be safe.